The prayer, of course, is that the president recovers completely from COVID, gets back to work as he improves. The Trump-hating universe doesn't seem to know whether to be relieved or angry about it. So a headline over at redstate.com, as Trump shows improvement, the media becomes more unhinged. We started with a day of freakout over Trump supposedly being on his deathbed, but the White House wasn't transparent enough. Then that has slowly morphed into more and more animosity and hostility as the president has shown evidence of improvement. In fact, there are loons who are speculating that it's all a hoax, that he faked it. You talk about turning something on its ear. We've gone from accusations that the president called coronavirus a hoax. He did not, incidentally. That's as big a lie as the other big lies that have been told about him. To now, the suggestion that the president is faking it all. He doesn't really have coronavirus. Banshee over at redstate.com writes, one of the most disgusting rants came from CNN's Jake Tapper. Tapper said, "Sick and in isolation, Mr. President, you have become a symbol of your own failures. Failures of recklessness, ignorance, arrogance, the same failures you have been inflicting on the rest of us. Get well and get it together." Wow. The hot takes continued to flow from there. CNN is always the top culprit, but far from the only one. How about the ride the president took in the SUV? Now, if we had any whiff of normalcy, that would have been a really neat moment for the mainstream media. The media would have been like, wow, look at that. There's hundreds of people outside Walter Reed. Really kind of cool that the president would get in the car and wave. It would really be kind of a neat moment. He's waving at people, driving around. You could hear the video, on the video, you could hear people so excited. Wow, there's the president. And you've got, two people in the front seat, and they're all in PPE. They're all suited up. They got masks and goggles and gloves and everything to be safe. But here's a little montage Grabian put together of the media's reaction to the president boosting and thanking his supporters for coming to the hospital and holding a supportive vigil outside the hospital.
I do think that's something that we should note here, as the president is doing this, obviously, for a PR and kind of publicity value.
So that the president could get the sort of adulation that he so desperately needs.
But this is what happens when you don't like what the people who are speaking for you are saying.
This is a man who we've seen for years now feeds off the affection of his fans and almost needs that affection.
It's classic Donald Trump, isn't it? He does want to be the star of any show, or he wants to be at the center of attention.
These are some sick people. This is some sick stuff. Let's just face it. This is some sick, twisted stuff. There's the president of the United States battling coronavirus. And of course, the other big thing on social media, if you dared wade into those polluted waters, and someday my team is going to support me and say, shut her all down. I don't want to be on Twitter, Facebook, any of this crap. It's a cesspool. You know what they were saying over the weekend? He was purposefully endangering his Secret Service agents who were driving the vehicle. Now, he's in a bulletproof SUV with everybody's got masks on. The president's wearing a mask. Wait a minute. I thought the mask was the magic pill. The magic bean. Put your mask on and you can't get COVID. That's your magic bean, Jack and the beanstalk. Put your mask on and you'll never get it. As long as you get a mask on, you are invincible. Somebody might want to tell Senator Tom Tillis that, because now that he has coronavirus, and as far as I know, Senator Tillis from North Carolina wore a mask all the time, including the Rose Garden. Oh, put your mask on! Okay, let's put our masks on. President's got his mask on in the car, waving to supporters. Secret Service agents have their masks on, goggles. They're really not taking any chances. But the president was purposefully risking the health and life of the Secret Service agent. Now, don't tell anyone, because they may not have figured this out. The Secret Service risked their lives for the president every day. I guess you could argue he shouldn't hold a rally, because they're out there at the rally. He's risking the Secret Service lives when he travels anywhere. He's endangering them, don't you know? He can't have a rally. He can't give a speech. He shouldn't go to a ribbon cutting, because he's endangering the U.S. Secret Service agents' lives. They should stay holed up in the White House and never come out. And incidentally, there's a guy who probably will if he gets elected. Biden may never see the light of day. You know, because he's enjoyed the basement in Wilmington, Delaware. Why won't he enjoy, hold up in the White House? I'm telling you, these people are nuts. Stay positive, stay optimistic, stay focused. Don't take anything for granted. We got 29 days. We gotta make it a month. You got to be registered to vote. You got to go to keepamerica.com. Don't take it for granted. We have got to overwhelm the lunatics who are trying to stop this president from winning re-election. We got to stop the crazies who are trying to stop every Republican senator from being elected. We got to stop the unhinged maniacs who don't want a single Republican to win, because they have gone bananas. And we all know it. Just got a text message on the MyPillow text line. Mike, I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania, and registered as a Republican. My brother is a registered Democrat. He's already received 2 absentee ballots. This whole mail-in ballot thing is such a disgrace, and everybody knows it. And it's the same game that Schumer is playing with the Supreme Court. It's not safe to hold any hearings for Amy Coney Barrett. We have to wait till, January of 2021 before there's anything going. Yeah, sure, Joe. Or sure, Chuck. We got it. You're real sincere. You're real legitimate. These people don't have an honorable bone in their body. They are scurrilous scoundrels. They're cruel. They're mean-spirited. They're hard-hearted. And we're seeing the full, they're exposed for all the world to see. We're seeing their true colors. Of course they want mail-in ballots. They want as much chaos, and they want as much confusion. They want to sow as much discord and crisis as they can. I mean, some would say watching the president ride around and wave at his supporters was one of the most inspiring things you've ever seen in the history of America. No, the Secret Service agents might have been exposed to COVID. Yeah, that's legitimate. Sure, that's sincere. I mean, guess what? I got a hunch the United States Secret Service is exposed to COVID pretty regularly. I got a hunch that America's police officers who are being pelted with rocks and eggs and spittle and being screamed at by protesters, I got a hunch they've been exposed to COVID a time or two as well. I got to believe a lot of people are being exposed to COVID. We are all at risk. So you either decide to stop living your life, quit your job, go hide out in your dining room till about April of 2023, or you realize you put a mask on when you come in contact with people less than 6 feet, you wash your hands a lot, you practice good hygiene, and you just use your head. Because clearly this thing is not through with us yet. But we cannot accept the narrative that we're supposed to shut everything down. And if this doesn't demonstrate it, I don't know what does. And listen, This is not all a walk in the park. This is not a bed of roses. Chris Christie is in the hospital. He's asthmatic. He's overweight. He is vulnerable. And there are plenty of people who have had a very rough go of this. It's not easy. I speak to people all the time. The other day I had somebody in my condo, father and son, working on some tile in my patio, on my condo patio. The son, couple of New Yorkers too, they're in Florida. The coolest story, I mean, the father and the son both got COVID. The son is 30, young, healthy, fit kid, wound up in the hospital with pneumonia and kidney stones because apparently coronavirus can attack your kidneys. So this poor kid had kidney stones, and he had never been sick, he said, in a day in his life. Never taken a sick day, 30 years old. And was in the hospital for a couple of days. Those cases happen. Those are real. That's not a hoax. The dad, by the way, he was under the weather for a couple of days, no big deal. And interestingly, neither one of them lost their sense of taste and smell, which is kind of interesting. Everybody is different. Everybody reacts differently. Everyone's body is going to handle this differently. We get it. Hopefully the president with a full recovery. Hopefully Chris Christie with a full recovery. Hopefully nobody on the campaign trail gets sick. I don't want Joe Biden to get exposed to this. I don't want anybody. Kamala Harris. I don't want Mike Pence. We got to pray for one another and lift each other up, not tear people down the way the left does.